Hey everybody, it's Brandon, and today we're gonna share a little personal story about mom because she definitely represents one of the success stories as it relates to focusing your retirement plan on income solely. Just the other day, we were going through and totaling up all income sources. And what we discovered in that exercise is that right now she generates retirement income that is close to, not quite, but close to double the income that she was earning the last couple of years that she was working. Now, I know this probably raises some questions among people. What great fortune fell upon her to achieve such a great scenario? And the truth is, nothing special. Retirement assets in total are a little bit higher than the average 401k balance for someone her age, but not astronomically so, nothing life changingly so. She's sort of right in that typical zone of what you'd expect to see a retiree her age having accumulated if you look at averages as they are reported from most major financial institutions. So what is the difference here? It's really just having a plan that's focused on income. Now, there are a couple of different places that she generates income, Social Security being one of them. She enrolled at her earliest eligibility age for the full Social Security benefit. She does receive a tiny, and I do mean ever so tiny, pension. I'll discuss where that comes from in just a little bit. She's got income coming in from annuities, and then she also has various dividend producing assets, things like closed end funds, covered call ETFs, stuff of that nature. So all of those income sources combined total an income number that is well in excess of what she actually had for earned wages while she was working. And one of the benefits to her position, and most retirees find themselves in this place, especially when you have dividends being earned inside an IRA like she doesn't have to recognize all of that income. In fact, her tax return takes less than 10 minutes to fill out and file. It's a very simple, easy process. What income she does recognize as taxable income is accounted for when distributions take place. So there's a certain amount of withholdings, and then she settles up with the IRS during tax time. And very, very straightforward, simple process. For what it's worth, there's also some cash reserves sitting around, money market funds and some life insurance cash values that she has at her disposal should she need them in any kind of additional emergency need or just kind of want to spend things. So she's been retired now for 2 years, and I think we could tell you living her best life. Things have massively improved as far as her overall happiness since taking the plunge into retirement. And while it's always a scary moment for people, the income that has been generated all along has definitely created a circumstance where worry has diminished significantly as she's gotten more into the groove of things and understanding, okay, there's income that comes in on certain dates of the month, and you have the ability to go do whatever you want to do so long as you don't spend above this amount. And being in a position where she's generating more income from her retirement assets than she was earning while she was working means that she's got excess income, which means we're taking that excess and we're buying up additional assets for the sake of accumulating even more income. So she's in a unique situation that I think a lot of retirees have at their disposal. They just don't realize that this is doable. She is growing income while being able to generate income and live off the assets that she has. Now, given the nature of some of the assets that she holds, there's definitely been some volatility. The past couple of years have been volatile as far as the market is concerned. She has seen swings, tens of thousands of dollars up and down in terms of account balances. She's basically back to where she started out, actually a little above that. And the other thing that's really unique about this, though, is the entire time that she has gone through various amounts of volatility, the income that has been generated month over month hasn't changed. So her ability to rely on income coming in, that hasn't gone anywhere. Now, again, I'm sure a lot of people would still fight back and say, yeah, but like what did she do to get here? And the answer is save money. I mean, there's nothing extraordinary. In fact, she, like almost everyone else, definitely endured certain challenges throughout her working years. She had the very unfortunate luck of becoming a widow at 52 and not receiving much in the way of life insurance to carry on and having to maintain all of the expenses for the most part that she had when my dad was still alive. The small pension that I mentioned is it's like $160 a month. That's actually something she receives as a survivor benefit from him. That would have been a substantially larger income benefit had he not died in his late 40s. So that that's something, but it's the smallest component of her retirement income sources. Now, there are a lot of things that we discuss throughout the days, the weeks, the years, but the one thing that we don't really talk much about is what's going on with the market because ultimately it doesn't matter. She receives the same amount of income, or actually it's increasing as she goes out and buys additional assets actually. But for her purposes, the same amount of income every single month. She knows how to live within the budget that that creates, and there are very, very few fears when it comes to what's going on in the broader economy. She's not bulletproof from every situation that could exist, but there are a lot of things that your typical retiree would be up at night worrying about that she just doesn't have to contend with. The lack of being dependent on the price of the shares that she owns because she's trying to sell 4% of her portfolio every single year to live off that redemption for income, that's not going on. So, in fact, I should mention that in the 2 years that she's been retired, she has not sold a single share of any of the assets she has acquired along the way. She hasn't needed to. There's more than enough dividend income from the assets that she owns to give her what she needs to live very comfortably. Now, I also mentioned that annuities play a role in her income strategy, and they do. There's income coming in from annuities that she had actually purchased prior to retirement with the intention of accumulating the income benefit that was a guarantee of those contracts, and that has unfolded exactly as planned. So that has played a supporting role in her overall income strategy. And the good thing about that is that's a solid guarantee. That income number is never going to change. It does not matter what happens to the broader economy. It doesn't even matter what happens to the insurance company that issued that annuity. She is guaranteed to receive that income until she dies. And that is another solid peace of mind element that people often overlook. She's got the ability to cover all of her basic needs as far as expenses. She's got well more than enough beyond that from the more somewhat variable dividend income that comes in, even though that's been ridiculously stable for the past 2 years. That she doesn't really have to worry about making adjustments based on what's going on with the portfolio. We look at it pretty frequently. I look at it pretty frequently. She looks at it almost never because the income is predictable. The income is reliable. And when you set up a plan to approach retirement in that fashion, things get really, really simplified. We've advocated in the past a need to have some sort of solid guaranteed income, and she does have that, but she also has other income sources, and that really captures the beauty of this approach. We don't worry about rate of return. She's never asked about it. We don't necessarily focus the plan on growth in terms of the shares she owns with the intention to sell them. Though, given the nature of what she's purchased, the opportunity does exist to cash that in at some point and move it into something else with hopefully a higher yield for income purposes. Again, not a huge strategy, but it's a nice plan B or another option on the table to have if the day comes when it makes sense to exercise it. Now, I'm not saying everybody out there listening to this could come talk to us and we would be able to double the income that you generate in retirement versus what you were earning in your working years. But what I do want you to hear me say is the pursuit of getting adequate income in retirement, similar to the income that you were earning while you were working, is a lot easier than a lot of people realize it is. The problem is there's been such a focus on rate of return that people kind of lose sight of the other tools at their disposal that make accomplishing this goal not all that complicated. So, if your current retirement plan does not have a healthy focus on income generation, you need to make some changes. And I think if you really were to dig into it with somebody who knows what they're doing, you would discover that those changes are a lot easier to make than you probably first thought they would be.